Dragon Quest V has the best story so far. Before I get to spoiling it, if you haven't played 5, you really should. It's definitely worth your time. Instead of chapters this time around, the game is split into 3 different stages of the hero's life, with the story focusing solely on him. The first stage begins with the hero at a very young age, traveling around with his father Pancrase. The hero's like 6 or 7 years old, but he gets a lot done. With Bianca, he kicks a bunch of monsters out of a haunted castle, he travels to Fairyland and helps stop an everlasting winter, and along the way he picks up a pet tiger and the golden orb, which becomes important later. It's the end of the childhood stage that I really started to get into the game. While trying to save Harry, the Prince of Coburg, you run into Ladja and have your second unwinnable fight of the series. So as you lay defeated, Pancrase shows up and pretty easily handles the minions Ladja has summoned, but as the fight ends, Ladja grabs the hero, little baby Shifty, holding a scythe to his neck and orders Pancrase to stop fighting. So you have to watch as your dad slowly gets beaten to death. It's actually really sad. I know, I was sitting there taking names. I was getting my Arya list going. And right before your father's killed, he lets you know your mother's still alive and his final request is that you find her. So right there, the game gives you these 2 really compelling reasons to carry on. Revenge and find your mother. Now this ends the childhood stage of the hero's life, and we pick up 10 years later, enslaved, working for the people who did this to us. Now, we escape pretty quickly and we get a couple big revelations. The first being, Pancrase was traveling around trying to find the legendary hero and the Zenithian gear. With these things, he could go to the underworld and save Madalena, his wife, your mother. And he's already found the sword. The second thing is, you're not the legendary hero. When you take the sword, you find that you can't equip it. It's a nice twist. So now, we have to find the legendary hero, the rest of the Zenithian gear, save Madalena, and get revenge. Now, to get the Zenithia shield, we have to get married. There's a whole thing involving rings we have to do, but that's the easy part. The real struggle was picking who to marry. Our choices are our childhood friend Bianca, or one of the Briscoletti sisters, Nira and Deborah. I agonized over this for so long. I think next playthrough it'll be Deborah, but this time around, I went with Bianca. For story reasons, and I kind of feel like the game guilts you into it. So with our new wife, we eventually find Gotha, the kingdom Pancrase used to rule over, but he gave it up in order to search for Madalena. We're introduced to the king, who turns out to be our uncle. While introductions are going on, Bianca faints, and it turns out she's pregnant. Which I thought was a little weird. Obviously time is marching on, but there's no real indication of it. Either way, this baby's coming. Our uncle is more than happy to hand the throne to us, but the Chancellor insists we follow tradition. So we head out, prove ourselves, and right as we return, Bianca gives birth to twins, Sly and Bits. In honor of the hero taking the throne and the birth of his twins, there's a big celebration. But the Chancellor betrays everyone and Bianca's kidnapped. Fortunately, before she's taken, she's able to hide the kids. You fight your way to Khan, who's holding Bianca, and he's on the list. With the help of Bianca, you put that horse down. Revenge. Just 2 more to go. We also find out Bianca has the blood of the legendary hero. Which means... Anyway, Ladja shows up and turns Bianca and the hero to stone in order to prevent the legendary hero from being born. Unaware, he already has. And this ends the second stage of the hero's life. And it's rough. you have to watch as you're sold off, separated from Bianca, placed on some rich guy's front lawn, and forced to watch this little kid grow up. And the messed up thing is, while this is happening, your own kids are growing up, and you don't get to be a part of it. Eventually, 8 years later, your kids, along with Sancho, show up and break the spell, which starts the third and final stage of the hero's life. After some grinding to get the kids in shape, we travel to Madalena's hometown and eventually Zenithia, which has now fallen into a lake. Along the way, we meet Dr. Aegon, a Zenithian who discovers the gold orb was missing, and that's why Zenithia fell. It turns out the fairies created the orb, so we return to them for help. They can't make another one, but they do have a magic portrait that lets you travel through time. So we take a fake orb, go back to our childhood, and swap it out. With the original golden orb, Zenithia rises, and somehow the Zenithians are back too. We then get to cross Slann off the list and get the dragon orb. With that, Dr. Aegon turns into the worst, useless, terrible character, the Zenith Dragon, whose only redeeming quality is he can fly us around and, I guess, open portals. With our new mount, we're able to return to the shrine we worked on as a slave, save Bianca, and get the final piece of Zenithian gear. Fully equipped, we enter the underworld Nadiria, finally crossing off the last name on the list, defeating Ladja, and avenging our father. Unfortunately, we can't save our mother, but we see her spirit has found Pancras's, and they entrust the last bit to us. With the legendary hero, we face off against Nimzo, and after a long 2-phase fight, we finally defeat him. I think Dragon Quest V easily has the best story so far. It's so much more than go fight the bad guy because a prophecy says so. And even though I pushed the revenge angle a lot, I don't think the game ever really looks at it that way. The focus is always about saving family. There's just a lot of depth here that I hope we see going forward. Just like 4, I thought the characters here were really good. I mentioned Sancho only once, but that guy is really underrated. He might be the most loyal character I've seen in an RPG. And the gameplay too is very similar, except of course the big addition of monster recruitment, which was a lot of fun up until the 3rd stage. Honestly, once I got the kids and Sancho, the monsters, they were sent to the ranch. Aside from Saber for story reasons, and the gold dragon because, I mean, he was a dragon. If a monster couldn't multi-heal or revive, to the ranch. I see why this game was talked about so often when I was first looking into Dragon Quest, and it's definitely deserved. Dragon Quest II, the second in the Erdrick trilogy, and this one, the second in the Zenithia trilogy, were about descendants. So I wonder if 6 will follow 3 and take us back to the beginning, maybe explain some Zenithia stuff. Maybe something about Dragon Quest IV's hero's parents? Either way, 3 ended the trilogy perfectly. I really hope 6 does the same for the Zenithian trilogy. Thank you all for your time. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment, let me know what you think about anything at all, and I'll see you next time.